One of DC's very first comics was printed in a giant newspaper format with no superheroes at all, and today its forgotten cowboy and rabbit strips are treated as the official birth of DC Comics. In this video, we're jumping back to 1935-1941 to uncover the first 10 issues that secretly built Gotham, Metropolis, and the entire DC universe, panel by panel. If you're into comics and nerd content like this, hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Jack Woods rides across the pages of New Fun Comics #1, the first comic ever published by the company that would become DC Comics. Printed in a big tabloid format and sold for 10 cents, it is packed with all new material instead of recycled newspaper strips. Cowboys, pirates, knights, and pilots share space with Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, turning the issue into a strange mix of pulp western, slapstick cartoon, and early adventure serial. The stories inside feel rough and experimental, but New Fun Comics #1 quietly changes the business. It proves a publisher can fill a fat comic with original characters and still move copies off the stands, paving the way for new comics, detective comics, and action comics. Decades later, DC celebrates it with an 85th anniversary reprint, treating this odd grab bag of cowboys and cartoon rabbits as the true first issue in DC history. Scribbly and a parade of gag strip misfits open New Comics #1, the second title from the future DC but the first to feel close to a modern comic book. Printed on a slimmer tabloid format and packed with short humor and adventure strips, it sells for 10 cents and proves New Fun Comics was not a fluke at all. Every page experiments with pacing, jokes, and cliffhangers without a single costumed superhero in sight. Only raw trial and error. The stories jump from slapstick kids to pilots and explorers, but the real legacy of New Comics #1 is the title itself. As the series evolves into New Adventure Comics and later Adventure Comics, it becomes one of DC's longest-running books, a backbone where new features are tested and rotated constantly. Long before capes take over, this odd little issue quietly sets up the house style the company will ride for decades. Slam Bradley throws punches across the grim alleys of Detective Comics #1, a hard-boiled crime anthology that hit stands in 1937 with no sign of Batman yet. Created under the troubled watch of Major Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson, it mixes gung-ho private eyes, gun runners, and Chinatown villains like Ching Lung, all wrapped in moody art that feels halfway between pulp magazines and early film noir reels. The cover by editor Vin Sullivan sells mystery and danger rather than superheroes, and inside you even find Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster warming up on non-costumed leads before Superman changes everything. Detective Comics quickly proves popular enough that its title later lends initials to the whole company as DC. When Batman finally arrives in issue 27, he simply steps into a stage this first number had already built. Superman bursts onto the first page of Action Comics #1, lifting a green car over his head, smashing it against a rock while crooks flee in panic. Published in the spring of 1938 for 10 cents, the issue quietly rewrites the rules of publishing. Kids do not just like it, they swarm newsstands, and the editors only slowly realize it is this strange capped strongman driving the entire book's sellout success. Inside, Clark Kent stammers through a date with Lois Lane, smashes through walls to save an innocent woman, and shrugs off bullets as if they were raindrops, inventing the template for every costumed hero that follows. Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster are paid a flat page rate and sign away all rights forever, while this single comic quietly grows into the most valuable issue on Earth and the accepted starting line of the superhero genre. Superman #1 spins the Man of Steel out of Action Comics and into the first solo superhero book ever published. Released in 1939, it reprints and reshapes his earliest adventures while expanding his origin, slowing down long enough to show more of the Kents raising Clark and the moment they send him into the world. Kids who already knew him from crowded newsstands now get an entire thick issue dedicated only to him, cover to cover. Behind the scenes, the gamble pays off so well that the comic needs multiple printings, pushing total copies toward the 1 million mark in a single year and proving Superman is a phenomenon. Jerome Siegel and Joe Shuster still see only a flat page rate, while this issue quietly becomes one of the 3 holy grails of Golden Age collecting, a cornerstone every serious Superman fan dreams of owning in their lifetime, slabbed, framed, and guarded. All American Comics #1 launches a sister line to the early DC books, selling a fat 10-cent anthology packed with adventure, humor, and aviation strips on rough pulp paper. Instead of household names, the first issue leans on new faces like Hop Harrigan, a young pilot hero, and the secret agent trio, Red, White, and Blue, marching through spy plots. It feels less like superhero bombast and more like a radio serial springing to life in ink. Over the years, All American Comics quietly turns into a powerhouse incubator, eventually introducing Green Lantern, Atom, Dr. Midnight, and even the first Red Tornado across later issues. The debut itself becomes a prize because it marks day one of All American Publications, the partner company that will later merge fully into DC. Page by page, this unassuming #1 is the seed of an entire branch of the DC Universe mythos. Batman #1 wastes no time making history, opening the Dark Knight's first solo book by unleashing both Joker and Catwoman in the same oversized issue. Published in 1940, it strings together multiple long stories, from poisoned victims grinning in death to high seas thefts where Batman and Robin clash with a jewel thief known only as the Cat. Gotham feels bigger, nastier, and stranger than anything glimpsed in Detective Comics so far. Behind the curtains, editors nearly kill Joker off in his debut, only to decide at the last minute that the clown is too good to lose and add a panel showing his survival in the hospital. Another tale teases Batman's softer side as he lets the Cat escape, setting up their lifelong tension and complicated pull. Between those choices and the moody art, Batman #1 locks in the villain gallery and tone that will define the character for decades. Flash rockets into Flash Comics #1 as Jay Garrick, a shy college student who accidentally inhales hard water vapors in his lab and wakes up moving faster than a speeding car. Published with a January 1940 cover date but on stands months earlier, the issue throws him straight into crime fighting, darting across panels, outrunning bullets, and using his new speed to slam through gangsters who never see the blue and red blur coming. Hawkman also spreads his wings in that same debut issue, with Carter Hall channeling an ancient warrior through a strange dream and donning a hawk mask, harness, and nth metal wings to dive into battle. Packed with backup features, radio-style thrills, and new mystery men, Flash Comics #1 quietly becomes a double origin point, seeding two pillars of the future DC universe in a single 10-cent experiment readers would not soon forget. Flash leads the charge again in All-Star Comics #1, but this time he is sharing the stage with Hawkman, Sandman, Spectre, Ultraman, Hourman, and a whole parade of mystery men pulled from across national and all-American titles. Instead of teaming them up, the issue acts like a sampler platter for new readers, giving each hero solo room to punch crooks, haunt criminals, or glide over city rooftops in pure wild Golden Age style. What feels at first like just another grab bag anthology slowly becomes the runway for something much bigger. By planting these characters side by side under one banner and training readers to see them as a loose club, All-Star Comics sets the table for the Justice Society of America that forms a few issues later. That twist makes this modest #1 a quiet turning point from scattered features to a shared universe blueprint. Superman and Batman finally share a single giant comic in World's Best Comics #1, a 96-page monster that stuffs in solo adventures for the Man of Steel, the Dark Knight, and Robin alongside Zatara, Crimson Avenger, and other costumed adventurers. Sold for 15 cents in 1941, it feels like a deluxe buffet of DC's biggest attractions, even though the heroes do not technically meet inside the actual stories yet. The cover by Fred Ray does the real crossover work, showing Superman, Batman, and Robin sprinting together toward the reader, racing off a fairground ride and locking in the idea that these icons share one world forever. Retitled World's Finest Comics from the second issue on, the series hosts decades of team-ups, but this debut is the true prototype, the first time fans could grab a single book led by both legends at once. That was our dive into the very first comics that quietly built the DC universe. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. If you enjoyed this trip back to the Golden Age, drop a like, tell me your favorite issue in the comments, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive.